Why have you changed your child's name 3 times?
Because I'm not sure that when you're up to your eyes in heartburn and hormones, it's actually the best time to make such a monumental choice for life. So with my first 3, I got it right, and it was a lucky thing. And I think often it is down to luck, whether you get it right or not. Dolly, when I was pregnant with her, it became a bit more of a family sort of debate as to what she was going to be called. It wasn't just me and my husband that had an opinion. We had 3 other children that all have very strong opinions as well. So the names that I liked, you know, Olive, Nancy, Mabel, no one liked those names. And so it became a bit of a headache trying to find a name that also fitted in with the other 3. Because if you have multiple children, you have to they kind of have to have similar sorts of names, otherwise it's weird. So they all loved Delphine as a name, and I wasn't sure, but I went with it because I kind of got bored with sort of discussing it by that point. So when she was born, she was Delphine, but I knew instantly she wasn't Delphine.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, you that we saw a report. Correct me if I'm wrong. You couldn't bond with her because of her name. Is that right?
Yeah, because it was stopping me from sort of. You know, I was trying lots of variations, like Delphi, Elfie. I look at emails I sent back at the time with photographs of her, and I was calling her all sorts of different things just to try. And I hated the way that you could put the emphasis on the first syllable or the last syllable. It just wasn't. It wasn't sitting right with me. And even as I was registering her birth at 6 weeks, my husband wasn't there. I was calling him frantically with the registrar sitting in front of me, going, "What? Pick up your phone! I don't want to call the baby this way."
When my little sister was born, we actually none of us could decide. And as you say, the kids get involved, and we're a lot older than our sister. We were walking around the hospital doing a vote. It was going to be Grace or Natalia.
Really?
What do you think?
Well, there you go.
What do you think? One.
Who knows? Go on.
Natalia.
Judy, listening to Shona's story, what do you think about this? Do you think it's damaging to a child?
I think obviously it depends on the age, but I just personally, my personal opinion is that, you know, I feel like you have enough time for your 9 months, and then you've got obviously those 6 weeks. I think picking a name, I know people think that name is nothing, but it is. It sets a grounding for your identity, how people perceive you. And
it's a grounding for your identity,
yes,
but the thing
it's also quite, when you think about it, you're saying that you change your daughter's name in regards to bonding. I think there's other ways that you can bond with your baby. And as an adult, as a parent, make a decision, I'm going to change the baby's name because I don't like it or I can't pronounce it. Is that actually for the baby or is that for yourself?
Well, the thing is, the name.
You know, that's quite selfish at times.
Picking a name for a baby is selfish. I mean, you can decide to call.
But that's our responsibility as parents.
But it's ridiculous because you can decide to call your kid Can Geese after your favourite Brittany campsite, for instance. But that doesn't say anything about the child. It says, it's a geographical reference.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, but the baby can't choose its own name.
Exactly. The child can't choose their own name. And unfortunately, let's be real about this. In society, a name can have a stereotype. It's got a perception that's through it. So you are, as an adult, responsible to pick a name that you feel would be best honoured and suit for this child.
But it might not always be right, because it's not about the child.
It might not always be right, but it is about the child. That's the point as a parent. It is about the child.
But it doesn't say anything about the child. How can you know?
But depending on the age, you know, babies, we're talking about from 4 to 8 months old, they start to recognise a mother's voice, they start to turn to their name. So, you know, if any later than that, change it 2 or 3 times can actually have some kind of confusion, even not to the baby, but within the household.
Yeah, I think, you know, research has shown that their name is one of the first things that they pick up on, that they start to recognise. Shona, do you think there's an age in which you would say, OK, after this point, I wouldn't change it?
School, probably.
Okay.
So when we started calling Dolly was called Dolly pretty much all the way through as a nickname.
Right.
And then members of my family, you know, waded in and they were saying you can't call your kid after a cloned sheep and all this sort of thing. So I was thinking, I've got to give her a proper name, and I don't like Delphine, so changed it to Dorothy. Now, I actually have no idea what to call her.
Well, that in itself...
If you don't like Delphine...
No, I am. She's called Dolly, but her official name is registered. So when I go to the doctor's surgery, I can't remember if it's Dorothy or Delphine. You know, like, it's a little bit confusing.
That in itself, look at that you yourself...
Delighted.
That's fine, but you as yourself as a parent is confused or not show. You're an adult where you're a bit more emotionally matured. So once she grows up, she might end up getting to that stage, or any other child feeling like, well, what should I call myself when the doctor calls me, or what my parents call me?
She will call herself what she feels most suits her. And actually, ironically, she loves Delphine now, and she looks like a Delphine now as well.
So that's
now you're going back to the
original name.
So, but she's got 2 to choose from on her birth certificate.
Oh, she's actually got 2 to choose from.
Do you think that names do come with the sort of preconceived...
Yes,
you know, if somebody said, right, you're presenting with Mark, I wouldn't have a sort of an idea as to what Mark would be like just based on his name. Or
your parents were quite sensible, and I think actually giving your child a name...
She just copied my dad's name, so she's just going to be able to think. She's lazy.
It does weigh in on how people think about you. You know, we've heard from people who are quite ignorant, like Katie Hopkins, who talked about, I wouldn't want my children to play with certain people with certain names. If you know, there's many people that apply for jobs and they've got like a traditional name and they've had to change it because they feel that they're going to be judged or they're not going to get the name.
That's what
you do look at. Yeah,
and
but
actually, what I've done, I don't think it's any worse than giving your tendency. What I've done,
why should we go towards
Judy,
society where they are now controlling
I don't think what I've done is any worse than calling your child 10 middle names because you can't decide on the first name to call it, which is what most people do. I think that's
each to their own. In your first 3 children, you kept to their name. That's when you just didn't feel it was right.
I didn't feel it was right.
There's a poll coming, and 13% of people are saying yes, you can rename your child. 87% are saying no. Now, we are not trying for kids, me and my wife, yet. I must say that. But we do talk about kids' names all the time.
Yeah.
And I mean, we love names, but it just doesn't feel right yet. So, I mean, I suppose some people prepare...
I almost want to have another baby just because I've got so many great names I want to call it. Obviously ridiculous, but...
I just think that you need to... I think with a name for myself, I've got children, the names had some emotional, connection towards them. As I was pregnant, I had a few names, and when the baby's born, obviously you do look at the baby and think, actually, which name suits you? But because they've got some importance to me, and, I think about how would it be for them when they're applying for jobs? How would it be for them when they're older? And I've kept to that consistent thought. That is why I was able to pick the names I had and kept them. And I think it's important.
You were lucky, though.
Yes, I am. And I do agree with you in the sense that some people, it takes a little bit longer.
And maybe we should have longer at the other end.
Maybe.
I wish we had longer to talk about it.
Yes.
But we don't have longer. We've got to go. Thank you so much,
Thank you so
girls.
much.
And I see
Both
both
of you.
points of view.